morning, everybody. I'm not sure if magazine articles require a copyright, but I'm going to do a commentary from a magazine or science article. I'm making this video kind of as a precursor to my next video because it's extremely fascinating information. And I'm going to read an article. Sorry, reading is boring, but it's pretty fascinating stuff. And the title is Rosalind Franklin, the Dark Lady of DNA. Here we go. The unsung pioneer of disease-causing V's, including, I don't know, it's kind of an unmentionable in this world anymore. While controversy surrounding women in medicine is nothing new, British chemist and researcher Rosalind Franklin, PhD, could be considered one of the most controversial to date. Dr. Franklin's life and work were heavily criticized by her mostly male colleagues, and any recognition she did receive came well after her death from ovarian cancer in 1958. So this goes way back. And I read in another article that they had speculated her own heritage that has a high rate of ovarian cancer may have contributed to her death, and that would be an Ashkenazi. Interesting point. Dr. Franklin began her impressive career studying physics and chemistry at Newnham Women's College at Cambridge University. She then worked on the British Coal Utilization Research Association analyzing carbon and graphite microstructures. Research that underpinned the doctoral degree she received from Cambridge in 1945. Okay, I'm going to hit pause again. Carbon and graphite microstructures. Well, graphite and graphene are closely related, and it's graphene microstructures that create nanotechnology. Okay, so here, 1945, we're talking a long time ago. This research had begun. If you get my drift, what might she, have her hands tampering with? Okay, several years later, Dr. Franklin received a Turner and Newell Fellowship and joined John T. Randall's biophysics unit at King's College in London. Though initially tasking with creating an X-ray crystallography unit, Randall asked that she instead shift her attention to the molecular structure of DNA, a fortuitous turn as her work uncovered properties leading to the discovery of DNA double helix structure, solving a significant biological riddle. And I'm going to pause for a moment and show you the type of machine she used. This was from a YouTube video. And in the center of that cylinder that goes around, that's the lighter color, that's where the X-ray film would be placed. And on the front, there's a dark circle, and that's where the X-ray would be beamed in. And on the right, supposedly, apparently, that's how they would derive a 3D model of molecules. And unless it's set up like a CT scan, a CT scan where they could do slice sections to make it 3D, go deeper and deeper to make it 3D. I really don't know how she got her information. This is her most famous photograph from this machine, Photo 51, okay? She photographed in 1952. Now, number one, I don't know how they can derive a double helix out of that picture. Totally don't know. I see an X. It might be in a position where there's cell division. I really don't know, but I'm very skeptical, and my mind immediately goes to Area 51 in Nevada and Area 52 in Utah. Okay, forgive my the way my mind wanders in that direction. And I found here's another photograph of this crystallography X-ray. And in my mind immediately goes to a laser making a paper doily. Forgive me. I could be totally wrong, but I am pretty skeptical about these things, other than to say that she could be tapping into the other side. Okay, and we will continue here. But no good deed goes unpunished. In 1962, three male colleagues using Dr. Franklin's contribution shared the Nobel Prize for Physiology or Medicine for the discovery of the double helix. Though she helped revolutionize the world's understanding of DNA, none of the men gave Dr. Franklin any credit, though one later suggested she deserved the Nobel for chemistry were it not for the ban on posthumous nominations. Now, I could probably name two of the three recipients, and that would be Watson and Crick. And I don't know if there's any connection, but it makes me think of Watson, who ran IBM for years and years. Don't know if there's any connection whatsoever, though. It's quite likely that Dr. Franklin's legacy would have died a quiet death had one of the Nobel winners not criticized her in his memoir as a bad tempered, arrogant blue stocking who jealously guarded her data from colleagues, even though she was not competent to interpret. Though many protested this treatment of Dr. Franklin, it was her friend Anne Sayer who published a furious rebuttal and brought some attention back to Dr. Franklin's discovery. Now, blue stocking is not much into our vernacular, so I looked it up. It goes back to 1700s, to where there were men in the British courts who wore blue worsted stockings. These are men who wore blue worsted stockings instead of black silk into the court like they were commoners, and it morphed into intellectual women. So take your pick on that. Still, while Dr. Franklin's DNA research was widely thought to be Nobel worthy, she continued to mostly be overlooked, prompting her biographer, Brenda Mado, to dub her the Dark Lady of DNA, based partly on a disparaging reference a co worker once made about Dr. Franklin, and partly because of her contribution to a crucial breaking discovery, has been kept in the dark. I wasn't aware of it, but I stumbled across Meryl Streep actually played the role of this doctor, the Dark Lady of DNA. Haven't seen it, probably never will. Okay, in a multifaceted scientist, Though Dr. Franklin's work on DNA was remarkable, it's only one part of her overall legacy. She was an expert on disease causing V's and made important advances in the science of coal and carbon. Okay, now V's and nanotech is really gotten into our lexicon. Because of Dr. Franklin's dedication and hard work, today's medical community has tools such as DNA sequencing and X ray crystallography to investigate these. Had Dr. Franklin's life not been tragically cut short, there's no doubt she'd have continued to change the face of medicine. And though her brilliant career in science still hasn't been given its full due, if you were to visit London's Williston Jewish Cemetery today, you'd see these words engraved on Dr. Franklin's tombstone. Scientist, her research and discoveries on fees remains a lasting benefit to mankind. She made the cover of Time in 1953, and there you see the double helix. I found this photograph of her quite interesting. A couple things I want to point out. When you zoom in here and read some of the writing, and it's talking about the next layer sits on top, giving dot 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 energy. Three chain arrangement is okay, and this is what I want to point out. There's three pointed triangle and then helix, triple helix, and then in parentheses a skull and bones exclamation point. The symbol for poison. And then there's more on the four chain. So who is she? What was she all about? I don't know. I find a great deal of I think the Dark Lady is probably a good way of putting it. And here's a closer up, and I know pixelation can cause um, a rough edge, but come on. I mean, please do something with those, shave your sideburns and do something with those eyebrows. We're talking a very, um, some very masculine qualities, and that nose is quite large. And back to this other photo of her, what I found remarkable is this subtle giving us the finger. And next, I want to show a very short video clip from what cell division really looks like. It's from the Founding Earth Brothers. It's the real deal. These are not cartoons of DNA. Um, and what I find very remarkable about it is this cell division looks more like jellyfish than double helix, triple helix, whatever. It, I, I don't know where they got that from. I'm a skeptic. It seems like an invention. So that made me think of jellyfish, UFOs, and um, what do you call it, crop circles. Now, one of the things that came up, they call this a UFO. It looks straight out of Mike Decker's video that I shared, and it's a balloon. And another one really stood out to me, and that is, it looks like cell division. Okay, I'm going to play that video clip and then a few more slides. And Hey, folks, have a good day and God bless.
We are not random. This is unfolding like something they would tell us is magic if it was happening on a larger scale in some sort of cartoon where they promote magic like crazy. Look at this. Something at work, a force in motion, and all of a sudden it pulls apart. How? What force? They tell us it's some polar force. How do those polar forces know to just kick in once they have everything divided equally with your chromosomes, the matching pairs being divided to both sides of the cells? Look at that. It's mind blowing how beautiful this is. And I thought the nucleus was the brain of the cell. Looks like these guys taking the credit. The breath of life in action. I mean, this stuff right here just gives you chills.